everybody. So today we are going to be gridding out our paper in order to prep for our grid drawing. So you are going to need your paper, and that could be in your sketchbook. You are also going to need a ruler. You're going to need a pencil or a mechanical pencil, and that's about it. So you need to make sure that your ruler has the numbers. We're going to be using the inches side, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my ruler at the top of my paper, and I'm going to take my pencil and I'm very lightly going to mark out every inch. So I'm going to be marking out 8 inches total. Now I'm doing this extremely lightly because I don't want to have really dark lines. These lines are not meant to stay here permanently. We're going to be erasing them at some point. All right, next I'm going to move my ruler. I'm not going to turn my paper in my sketchbook, as tempting as that is. I'm going to move my ruler down to the bottom because sometimes, like as you can see down here, there is, ooh, my camera keeps zooming in and out. It's not focusing. All right, so my paper is not exactly 9 inches down here. So if I were to twist it, it would cause my lines to be off, and when I go to connect these lines, it would, they wouldn't be straight. So that's why I'm having you move the ruler versus flipping the paper around. So again, we're going to lightly connect those lines, or draw out those lines every inch. Just put a little tally mark. Fabulous. All right, now what we are going to do is we are going to connect those lines. So I'm going to put my ruler. I'm going to make sure that they line up. I'm going to hold it tight so my ruler doesn't move. And I'm going to connect each of those lines. Now you want to make sure that these are extremely light. Like I am barely pushing on my pencil. Like I'm almost just dragging the pencil across the paper. I'm not even putting pressure on it because like I said, this is meant to just be a tool. This is not meant to be permanent. If you push too hard with your pencil, it's going to stain the paper, and then you're going to have a permanent grid on your drawing, and it's going to make it look really unprofessional and childish. So you want to make sure, so we're all aiming to, you know, look more professional as artists, so just make sure drawing straight across. And one more. Great. Okay, so now I have my grids going up and down. Now we need to do the grids on the side. So I'm going to line my ruler up to the side. Okay, and I'm going to mark out every inch, just like we did before. And I know this is tedious, and it takes a little bit of time, but the nice thing about this is you will now forever know how to draw out any kind of image if you're using a reference, which you always should be using a reference, in the future. So you can't ever say like, oh, I can't, you know, draw this out accurately. Now you have this in your toolbox of how to accurately draw a photo, because that is the whole purpose of the grid method, is to accurately replicate an image. Okay, so again, lining those lines up with the ruler, holding it tight and drawing ever so lightly. Sometimes it looks like my line isn't even there at some points because I'm drawing so lightly. Like right here. Like there is a line there, but it's just super light. And that's the whole point in this. almost done. Switch it up a little bit. The counter space against the window in the classroom isn't very wide. And more. Awesome. So now I have this awesome grid. I already went ahead and gridded out my photos. So for this lesson, I'm doing this specifically for our mask selfie that we are going to be doing with my 6th graders. So I gridded out and I labeled across the top with letters and numbers along the side. Now you can do this for any of the projects. So I might be having you do your pet portrait. It's the same idea, just a different photo. So make sure you label your reference. Once that's done, we're going to label this. Now, I have, let's see, so I know I'm going to have more, because this is a bigger piece of paper, I'm going to have more boxes. So I might actually be able to use some of those boxes for my grid. So let's just say I'm going to count it out. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Perfect. Okay. So A, B, C, D, E, and F, G, H. And I'm writing it really lightly because I don't want to have this permanently on my paper. Same thing down the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. And I only needed 10, so I can actually use, I've got this bottom row here that's extra. I can actually use that again to label more of my letters. I can't use this one here because I need that for this part of my drawing, but it makes it really helpful. All right, now that you have that gridded, what you can start to do is you're going to start to sketch out your image box by box. And I already started to do this. I started with my hair. I'm starting to sketch in the mask. And at some point you do want to try to get as much information as you can down on here before you start shading. What you can also do is sometimes you can block things off to make it a little bit easier to see. So for example, if you have like an extra piece of paper, which I do have a few right here, sometimes, because this can be quite intimidating, you can take a piece of paper, and I actually tend to like to make a little viewfinder so that I don't have to have like such big pieces of paper. But if you block off one box, then I can kind of focus in. Okay, I have a little bit of the eye coming in. You can see the bridge of my nose. Here's the mask. And that helps us kind of figure out and identify, where things should be lining up. So with my mask, for example, I can see that. So in D4, Okay, so it starts just about at the middle, and then it's going to go up slightly. So I'm kind of using where the things in the image start and stop as a gauge to where things should be going. So I'm going to have this kind of curve on up. I'm always using my reference, constantly going back. Okay. So sometimes I'll even pay attention to the negative space. So I'm trying to get this line here for my mask. Let me zoom in for you. So I'm trying to get this line here for my mask, but maybe instead of trying to figure out that line, I'm going to look at that back, the negative space almost, so like the skin, and it kind of creates this, almost like if you were to, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like a shark fin on its side. So it's going to kind of curve, it's kind of like a curved triangle right there. So I'm paying attention to that negative, I'm paying attention to that negative space to get that curved line here versus trying to worry about this line here. All right, so same thing underneath. I'm going to maybe pay attention to the mask shape versus the edge of this. And in doing so, it will help me get more of an accurate line. So we want to have this whole thing kind of drawn out. Now you can take the approach, you don't always have to have everything drawn out ahead of time. You can actually take the approach where you shade in it box by box. So I will actually go get another drawing that I've been working on to kind of show you an example. So here I've got my little cat drawing that I've been working on, and so I do have things sketched out, but you can go and start to just shade things in one box at a time, and as you go, it will slowly start to transform your picture when you're done. All right, guys, get started on your projects. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'm happy to answer them and be here to help. See you soon.